In a previous episode, we discussed the situation of Dr. Ralph Martin and Dr. Eduardo Echeverria. Both have been guests on this show previously. We discussed their firing by the Archbishop of Detroit, fired from Sacred Heart Seminary. There were questions on why exactly these men were fired, and now there are answers. There is a statement released by Dr. Ralph Martin that we're going to take a quick look at just by way of a follow-up to that episode for people who are wondering, why is this happening? What is going on? Again, if you're not familiar, both of these gentlemen are professors or were professors at Sacred Heart Seminary and very, very well known for their support of Pope John Paul II and Pope Benedict XVI during their pontificate. However, they became more critical of the papacy and specifically Pope Francis during his pontificate. And so there are different perspectives on them. Some have hailed them as great heroes of the faith who called it like it is and called out what they perceive to be the errors of Pope Francis. Others see them as figures engaging in dissent and going against magisterial authority. So there's different perspectives here. Some are saying this needed to happen. It was long overdue. They were undermining the Pope. Others are saying, no, they were rightly speaking out against various errors of the papacy, and so they should be praised, not fired. So there's definitely different perspectives on the matter. However, again, the question was, well, why did this happen? Let's take a look at what Dr. Ralph Martin has just said as he has released a statement. On July 24th, Dr. Martin said, "Dear friends and supporters of Renewal Ministries, after consulting with Renewal Ministries Chairman of the Board, Deacon Dan Foley, Executive Vice President Peter Herbeck, and Vice President Pete Burrick, I have decided to release the best explanation I have regarding my recent termination from Sacred Heart Major Seminary. My decision to share this is based on widespread disinformation of the news since my firing and that of fellow Professor Eduardo Echeverria, and my belief that our colleagues, friends, and supporters deserve an explanation. Yesterday, Archbishop Weisenberger told me that he was terminating my position at the seminary effective immediately. When I asked him for an explanation, he said he didn't think it would be helpful to give any specifics, but mentioned something about having concerns about my theological perspectives. This news came as a shock. I have contributed much to the seminary over more than 23 years. I even helped introduce and lead, up until yesterday, our flagship pontifical degree program, the Licentiate of Sacred Theology degree in the New Evangelization. And notice, however, the crux of the matter is that the Archbishop has concerns about his theological perspectives. He goes on to say, I want what I say about the situation to be truthful, but I also do not want to unnecessarily contribute to the current polarization in the church. I'm grateful for the support and guidance of Renewal Ministries Board in both Canada and the United States, and so on. I think there's the answer. Concerns about his theological positions. However, he wasn't given any specifics, at least according to the statement here. It seems like it was kept vague, again, according to his explanation of the situation. And if true, that's unfortunate. So if that's accurate, yes, it would be nice if a little bit more explanation was provided. What are those theological concerns? I think we know what some of those theological concerns are. I've reviewed some videos of Ralph Martin on this channel before. Perhaps it's some of those issues that have been reviewed that the Archbishop is considering. However, we don't know for sure, so it is mere speculation. Is this just theological concerns because he's traditional and conservative, or theological concerns because the Archbishop feels that he was engaging in dissent against magisterial authority? What exactly are these theological concerns? That would have been helpful for the Archbishop to mention either in that discussion or in a public statement. That way people could know not only where the Archbishop stands, but also where United States bishops are standing on certain theological perspectives. This could give some key insights to where the bishops in America land on some theological matters. And so, to keep it vague, however, I suspect, he did that to not open himself up to critique and criticism, because if he said, here's the theological reasons, then of course Ralph Martin and others would then critique and respond to those concerns. And it looks like the Archbishop just didn't really even want to get into that. And of course, he just said, okay, well, you're gone, and it's for theological reasons. So that's all we know so far. I wanted to add that in there because it does help answer some questions, but unfortunately not all. Perhaps there will be some additional information that comes out in the future, and if so, I'll of course keep you updated. Everybody hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and of course check me out at patreon.com/reason and theology if you want to support the channel. I'll see you later. God bless. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button, and also consider supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/reason and theology.